One of Speaker Pelosi's top deputies is now publicly arguing Congress will hold impeachment proceedings eventually. 58 members of Congress now back impeachment. But critics say it is time for Congress to just move on and not relitigate all of this, which raises the question of all the things Congress has looked into in its history, would this be the thing to move on from? Take a point from a former Obama DOJ official. A Congress that spent years investigating Benghazi surely should spend an equivalent amount of time and energy investigating potential wrongdoing by the president. That very official joins me now, former Solicitor General Neal Katyal, who has argued dozens of cases before the Supreme Court and leads our opening arguments series. Great to see you, Neal. You argue this is both important for Congress to tackle and that Barr has contradicted himself. How?
Yeah, so as I started to think about what happened last week, those two press moments, one with Robert Mueller and having a press conference, the other, William Barr talking to CBS News, I started to realize I think actually those two conferences are going to set the tone for the next year and determine what happens. And Mueller went on the cameras and said, basically, look, I couldn't indict a sitting president. I was bound by DOJ opinions. And therefore, I also couldn't label Trump a criminal, that it'd be unfair to label someone a criminal and not give him the legal process to clear his name. So that's Mueller. Then Barr the next day tells CBS News, oh, no, actually, Mueller could have labeled Trump a criminal. There was nothing prohibiting him from doing that. And I started to think about that and thought, you know, I was covering with Brian Williams for your network the confirmation hearings of Barr, and I thought, I don't think that's what Barr said at his confirmation hearings. And so I think you've got a clip about that, so let's hear the clip.
I personally felt he could have reached a decision. The opinion says you cannot indict a president while he's in office, but he could have reached a decision as to whether it was criminal activity. But he had his reasons for not doing it, which he explained.
If you're not going to indict someone, then you don't stand up there and unload negative information about the person. That's not the way the Department of Justice does business.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, so, you know, I was looking through all the confirmation hearing testimony, and I saw that, and I thought, boy, you know, that is just a flat contradiction. Barr, 3 months ago, to get his job, saying one thing, and now saying something absolutely different. It's an attorney general. And remember, the attorney general is our highest legal officer in the land, the person who's supposed to evince, you know, just the utmost respect for law in principle. And you have an attorney general who's literally careening from position to position, whatever suits him on a given day in order to clear his boss, the president. And I think, Ari, this has real implications because Mueller is saying, I can't answer the question of whether the president obstructed justice. I'm not allowed to give you an answer. Barr then grabs it and says, oh, no, I'll give you an answer. The president did nothing wrong. But Barr's answer is not worth the paper it's printed on. This is a cheater's answer. This isn't a real answer. And there's now only one, at least federal entity, that can give us a real answer, and that's Congress. And that's why your setup to this whole piece was Congress and impeachment. And I think there isn't any doubt now that there has to be an official inquiry into what the president did.
Well, you lay it out so clearly, and I'm so glad you brought those receipts, because one of the things that Barr does is he misleads in very careful, complex ways. So it actually takes, if I may, a Neal Katyal level amount of research to go, oh, wait, right, that doesn't actually square. In the service of being clear, I want to quote a very much a non-lawyer who put the question so crisply in the New York Times, which is Maureen Dowd, who folks remember has written about many Washington issues, and she says it very straightforward. She says, look, Mueller's argument is he can't report on what his facts mean because the president has immunity from prosecution, but that doesn't follow. If you believe Trump committed a crime, even if you can't indict him now, why not say so? Neal?
So, look, I think that if Barr didn't say what he said at his confirmation hearings, you could imagine Mueller in March taking a very different view and answering the question of whether the president obstructed justice. But remember, Mueller's ultimate boss, his supervisor, is William Barr. And he was following what Barr told him to do at his confirmation hearings, which is don't go and attack someone and tear their reputation down if you don't give them legal process.
And that brings to the other thing I want to ask you about in the rules that you wrote, which have this trigger for serious disagreements go to the Congress. And the good news for the Trump Justice Department, Barr and his predecessors, was under the rules you wrote, there was nothing at that level of disagreement. And yet it does seem now that we take it all together, there have been other sub rosa, smaller, more implicit disagreements that didn't rise to that level. It seems to me right now you're gesturing at one, which may be that Barr sort of pushed Mueller in a certain direction and he took the order.
Well, it's possible. I mean, it seems like actually Barr was playing a little bit of what I think could be termed a bait and switch. I mean, he's meeting with Mueller in early March. Mueller tells him, hey, I'm not going to reach a decision. And presumably Mueller thought so because that's exactly what you told me to do at your confirmation hearing. And then
right, the quote,
later,
just to be clear, he says, we don't unload on people.
Exactly.
Mueller comes back and says in plain English, so I'm not going to unload on him with, not indicting him and then unload. And then go ahead.
And then Mueller does exactly that. He turns in his report without unloading on Trump. And then Barr goes and says, oh, well, now I get to clear the president. And how come Mueller didn't do this, and acts all surprised and so on, when that's, of course, exactly the path that he laid down at his confirmation hearings. And again, it's just so troubling, Ari, that this is the Attorney General of the United States.
Right.
I mean, this isn't a 5 or 10-year-old kid who, lies on Monday in order to make Tuesday better or something like that. These are really fundamental, serious issues. And what this demonstrates is that anyone out there who thinks that Barr cleared Trump has to rethink that position, because this is a man who literally right now is doing things and saying things just for the service of clearing the president. I mean, he's betraying the own principles that he himself laid out at his confirmation hearing.
Well, you lay it out there, and I know you're quite careful and responsible, and these are colleagues of yours really in an institution that you care a lot about. So it means a lot, and it's striking. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.